life's journey, what would you give as 3 tips towards the journey of loving for self?
So there's 3 things that are very big things. So the first one is we have to accept ourselves as we are. We have to hold up a mirror and say, self, this is me. And that comes from acknowledging a concept called the inner child, which I won't go into. It's a massive subject matter, but effectively it's saying that things that took place in our past, we have to acknowledge them and respect that they took place, but know that you are not your past. You must get past your past. And, I could go into a lot of detail on that, but it's all about accepting what has happened to us as children, knowing it's not our fault. And in many cases, our parents or our caregivers, for most of them, they didn't know any better if there was something negative that took place. And where we can bring the inner child into our adult self and marry the two, it's a beautiful thing. I'd have to go into that in much more detail another time, but it's a powerful thing. The other 2 things are much more accessible to people, which is self-compassion and grace. We have to be kind to ourselves. It's so easy to be kind to other people, but we've got to say to ourselves, you know what, self? I made a mistake, but I'm a human being. And human beings are flawsome, okay? We're flawsome. We are awesome, and we also have some flaws. And as long as you are, take it, brother. You can use that one. We as flawsome people.
Indeed.
So you got to give yourself grace and recognize that we all have this shared human experience. The ups and downs, the highs and the lows. Life is about duality. So nothing's always going to be plain and smooth sailing. So we just have to accept that that's a situation and give ourselves grace. And then the third thing is I was asked in 2022 to deliver a presentation and a workshop on self-love as, a subject matter. And I then, because I like to be practical, looked at my own life and how I have lived my life. And I recognized that it was through this concept that I've then coined called gifts. So the power of gifts is how I live my life. And the G is for gratitude. The I is for intentional, being intentional. The F is for forgiveness. The T is for your team and tribe, and the S is self-care. So taking each one in turn, gratitude. Every single day that I am able to open my eyes, doesn't matter if I'm in a hospital bed or in my bed, I give thanks to the Most High. And there have been times when I've not even been able to open both eyes, by the way. I still give thanks to the Most High. Gratitude, an attitude of gratitude will feed your passion and your desire to want more, do more, be more. And it just gives you this sense of lightness. And you then have all your burdens somewhat released from you, because we understand that we are part of a bigger picture. We are connected to nature and that we're not on our own. Gratitude, really important. The I is to be intentional. Too many people are just coasting in life. Life is for living. Live it, but live it with purpose. Live it with intention, meaning you set the goals. You set the trend. You say what you want to do in life. What are your dreams? What are your goals? What's your mission? And mean it and put a plan in place to get it. The F is for forgiveness. Now, by the way, this one is massive because it's easier for us as humans to forgive other people, but not so much to forgive ourselves, number one. Number two, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation with the party that harmed us. It means that we acknowledge what took place. If they apologize, they may not even apologize, by the way, and that's fine. If they apologize, we can accept their apology, but we don't have to accept them back into our life. Very important. When it comes to ourselves, that's that recognition of the shared human experience that we are flawsome and that we will make mistakes. We just have to accept accept that, but we must make sure that we learn from that mistake by changing our behavior. If someone apologizes and doesn't change their behavior, that's manipulation, and that includes for ourselves. If we say that, you know, I'm not going to drink and then drive, and you know, you've hit someone because of drink driving, for example, if you don't change the behavior, then that's manipulation. But if you say, do you know what, I recognize the wrong that took place, I'm genuinely sorry, and it's not going to happen again, and you put steps in place and parameters in place for that to not happen again, because you are controlling, at least from your side, your behavior, that will lend itself to you having much more love for self and confidence in self. That's the F. The T is for your team and tribe. We cannot do life alone. We are social creatures. And so who you have around you is equal to the consumption of your food, by the way. You got to be mindful of what you eat, mindful of what you see, mindful of what you hear, but mindful of the people around you. Your team, your tribe can be your prison, and it can be your power. My dad has always said to me from when I was a child, you know, show me your friends and company, and that tells me the person you, show me your friends and show me the company you keep, and that tells me all about you. Sorry. He's always said that to me, that the people that we hang around will have more of an influence and impact on us than we think. That law of osmosis. So show me the kind of person you be by looking at the company you keep is key. Are your friends happy for your happy and sad for your sad? Or are they only happy for your happy? Or are they only sad for your sad? Now, by the way, if someone is very negative around you, then you need to keep them at arm's length. Do not tell them your goals and dreams, because if they're negative, they will harm you. They will keep you shrinking rather than excelling and expressing yourself. They will, and it's sometimes not even their fault. It's because they've got limited beliefs. They haven't been able to achieve the best that they can do, so they can't see it for you. That's not their fault, but you have to have that inner confidence to say, I'm not taking advice from you. Equally, when you're on a high and everything's going really well in life, look and see who is there when everything's going well. Because a lot of people will be there for you, cheering you on. Go, sis, you're amazing. I know you could do it. But then if something bad happens, are they there for you as well? Flip side of that, your team. Look at who criticizes you. Sometimes the people who criticize you love you. So you've got to use the power of discernment. When someone is criticizing you, it's not always a negative. It's because they know that you can do better. Sometimes people are not criticizing you, and they should be, but it's because they want to just stay close. They're like moths to a light. So they want to just stay close to what's hot that minute, or they don't want to upset you. Those people are not your friends either. Because trust me on this, if I see that someone is acting out and they're in my friendship group, I'm not going to embarrass them. So I'm not going to say it publicly. I'll find a time when we can actually, you know, speak on a one-on-one, and I'll say, my love, is that you know me, I'm coming from a place of just, I need to share this with you. For example, random example, if you can see a friend is taking recreational drugs, for example, bit extreme, but I'll use it. Actually, no. Let's say that a friend is in a relationship and you can see that that partner, male or female, doesn't matter, has some traits. They're a little bit suspect and you're seeing some red flags and your friend can't see it. If my friend didn't tell me that they could see some red flags, they didn't like the way he spoke to me. Or if I'm saying to my friend, I'm checking, I'm like, oh, I don't like the way that she's dealing with you in public. She's not honoring you as a king. I'm going to tell my friend. Because if you're my bona fide, I should be able to tell you the good and the bad. Very important. And then the last one is an S, which stands for self-care. And for me, self-care is anything that we do that is positive for the betterment of our mind, body, and soul on a daily basis. And so this is why that 30 to 60 minutes of happiness is so key. Everybody is different. And so that comes from knowing yourself, knowing your self-love languages. I believe in powerful affirmations. Just because if we look at it, Brother Paul, you know about the positive to criticism ratio. Most people, they need, if there's one criticism that they hear, they need to hear 5 positive things to counter that one criticism. But brother, tell me, how many times do we know this to be true? Most people will hear 5, 10, 15, 20 criticisms and close to 0 positives, right? So affirmations, some people don't believe in them, but sometimes that's the only time a person's going to hear something positive said to themselves. So
Exactly.
you see what I'm saying, King? So it's a really important step in someone's self-love journey to recite 3 times a day a powerful affirmation and say it out loud. Because when you say it out loud, your voice will hit something solid, hit a wall or whatever, and that will then ricochet and sit within your heart, sit within you on a cellular level. And so that's just feeding your spirit and your mind very positively. You got to move as well. Now, you know, if someone is disabled, for example, so they can't get out as easily or can't move as easily as everybody else, then even if you're just raising your arm a little bit, just do something to move so your body can feel that motion, right? And then, you know, things for the soul. If you can't go out in nature, bring nature into your home, have some live plants. If you can have a dog, cat, they're very soothing to people. I personally don't have pets, but I know some people do very well with having pets. But equally, meditation and prayer, very, very key. Listen to music. Music always, you know, uplifts me. And it can transcend a person to a really beautiful place where it's a happy moment. And that can contribute to that 30 to 60 minutes of happiness. You know, there's all different types of ways in which self-care can manifest itself, but it comes from the individual knowing themselves, knowing what, you know, works for them, and then being bold enough and brave enough to value themselves. Again, I believe it was Sister Nicola last week that said that we don't value ourselves. And so that's when we would disrespect each other, ourselves and each other. It's because we don't value ourselves. Well, when you do these self-care activities, you're actually in an unconscious way telling yourself that I value you. You matter. And then it will then build up from there.
Amazing.